GameFreak League, right? That shit's crazy. Look, what's up, you guys? It's PR Plays. For those of you that don't know me, I make stupid ass YouTube short videos, and I like talking about just whatever. This video is not going to be edited in any way. The production value is relatively low. This microphone is not even plugged in, so it's just a prop. But I like holding stuff in my hand, and I can't hold my dick in this video, so that's what's gonna happen. But you clicked on the video because of the title, and you may be thinking, what does this fucking guy know about Pokemon? I know a lot about Pokemon. But before I get into that, I must preface this. Give me like a minute and a half. I made the initial video that I wanted to make, which is this one, about 4 hours ago. But when I was finishing it, I got a phone call. I got invited to a party. I did not want to go to the party. I kept putting it off. I was recording it and I kept getting cut off because I kept getting phone calls. And I said, fine, I'll record it later. Well, now there's no sun outside because I recorded the video outside of my backyard. So now I'm inside. And I'm glad that I went to the party because I got this chick's phone number. Beautiful girl, tatted up, but she was beautiful. God damn, boy. Cuban Dominican. Get out of here, boy. God damn. You know the night went good when you say bye. She gives you that kiss on the cheek and goes, Te veo, amor, get my phone number. You're like, bam, bam, what? So it worked out. Why did I tell you that? Because I'm fucking stoked, man. I got that girl's phone number. She's fucking beautiful. But anyways, I came home and I said, I can't just record this video with half of it being in daylight and then me going to the backyard and being like, so anyways, guys, where was I? Let's get into the credentials. Why am I qualified to speak on Pokemon, right? Everybody's talking about this, right? So what's to stop you from thinking, hey, who's this guy that he's probably just wanting to hop on a bandwagon, right? It's a trending thing. Why not talk about Pokemon? Well, let me give you my credentials real quick in under about 30 seconds. First Pokemon game was Blue in 1998. Then I got Red, Yellow. Then I got Gold, Silver, Crystal. Then I got Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Then I got Fire, Red, Leaf, Green. Then I got Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black, White. 2 versions of those games, X, not Y. And Sun, Moon, the Ultra versions. Sword, reluctantly, fucking, I don't want to talk about Sword. And then Scarlet I've put about 400 hours into Scarlet. Best Pokemon game to date, in my opinion. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. All bugs aside, because those games are a heaping fuckload of what the fuck, GameFreak. But you know us, the Pokemon community, we give them a pass. So now before we're about to hit the 3-minute mark, let's get into the actual leak. What happened? GameFreak got hit with what's called the Tera-leak. That's what Twitter's calling it. And a lot of things, pretty much GameFreak's, it's scary the amount of stuff that GameFreak got hacked and leaked in this leak. Look, let's get into it, right? Where do I start? They talked about Legends EA. They talked about Gen 10, the code name of Gen 10, the code letters for both versions of Gen 10. We have Pokemon lore straight from GameFreak. We've always been, philosophizing like we're fucking Carl Sagan's putting together, Arceus is God, and he made Dialga and Palkia, and Giratina's like the devil. We were kind of right, but GameFreak, who the fuck knew this? GameFreak developed their own internal, dead-ass, trademarked by GameFreak, canon of the Pokemon world. And it's fucking sick. It's awesome to read. I actually have it saved here, and I'm gonna go over some of these things. But let's start with, because there's a lot more. Let me start with Pokemon Legends ZA. Now, when it comes to ZA, I don't want to say much beyond the fact that GameFreak, we've always had a third version of Pokemon games, right? We have X, Y. It didn't have a Z, right? But every other game either has a third or a 2, or an Ultra if you're Sun and Moon. X and Y didn't get that. And we all know that with everything that's happened, X and Y were the first fully 3D Pokemon games that came to a new console at that time that GameFreak didn't work on until they got X and Y, which is the Nintendo 3DS. And they were catching their bearings, and then Nintendo kind of forced them to, you got to make the next one. So they wanted to make Z, never made it. So Zygarde's potential in that game never went tapped. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the power plant where the Volcanion event or the Volcanion event was supposed to happen in X and Y in the desert, and it just never happened. But you could Game Shark it, and it would happen. So there was a lot to X and Y that was supposed to happen, but that didn't because of Nintendo. Well, that's why they're making Legends ZA, and then they tried to rectify that in the Gen 7 games, where they gave Zygarde the 100% form, where he's a Mighty Morphin Power fucking Ranger. We found out that the 50% form is the one that we caught in X and Y, the Slytherin Snake, and then he has a doggy form at 10%, and then he has cells and cores. So that was retconned, you know, in the next generation. Again, they wanted to do it in Gen 6, but Nintendo was like, get on to the next. So with Legend ZA, this is Game Freak's opportunity to go ahead and rectify that. And I'm going to just say just two things about Legends. Well, three things. The hackers, or the people that hacked Game Freak, purportedly, and I believe them because they have all the evidence to back it up, they have the source code for Legend ZA, but most importantly, they have a one of the final beta builds of the game, which is completely done story-wise. It's 50% English translated, and the side quests, a lot of the side quests are untriggerable, and a lot of just other events in the world are not triggerable because they haven't been programmed to trigger. So basically, somebody out there already has the game. I'm not going to go into spoilers or anything, but I am going to talk about the obvious. If you saw the Legends ZA trailer, at the end of that trailer, they show the Mega Evolution Stone. Now, it doesn't take, you know, this was a guess from a lot of us in the Pokemon community. If you're making Pokemon Legends ZA, the Z is for Zygarde. It's green like Zygarde. So, if you have the Mega Evolution, okay, Mega Zygarde, that's the point of what I'm trying to get at. Mega Zygarde. Oh, I'm seeing leaks right now as I'm talking to you, but I'm gonna get to those. Mega Zygarde's gonna be in Legends ZA. I think everybody knew that. But another one that I didn't see coming was Mega, and don't bury me, because this Pokemon, I didn't really fuck with Sun and Moon. I fucked with Sun and Moon, but when Ultra came out, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I kind of stopped giving a fuck. So I don't know if Zorurara, the yellow cat with the blue claws. I'm sorry, guys. Look, I'm a Pokemon fan, but there's so many fucking mythic. I don't even know what generation Meltan belongs in. 7, 8. I have no idea. But Zorurara, the mythical cat, is getting a Mega as well in Legends ZA. So that was one of the things that came out, and that's kind of where I want to leave it at for Legends, because I feel like if I say more about it, you can just go on Twitter and look at it. And yeah, so let's get to Gen 10. So we got the code names we got the code name for the Generation 10 games, and Riddler Coup on Twitter, you know, backed this up. The code name for, you know, we know that Ikaku was, now we know, is a code name for Legend ZA. And it's like Sudachi was a code name for Scarlet and Violet and the DLC. We now know the code name for Gen 10 is Gaia. Now, if you don't know what Gaia is, in real life or in Greek mythology, just in mythology in general, Gaia is the name of the earth, but also Gaia, you know, comes from Greece, from the you know, Greek story of Gaia. So Ku went on Twitter and he said, hey, you guys kind of already got clues, but the next generation is going to be surrounded by a lot of water and, you know, like islands. And if you look at Greece on a map, yeah. And also in Scarlet and Violet, there's a picture, I believe in the starting house, that maybe I'm wrong about where it is, but every Pokemon game, I think from Gen 6 and up, maybe from, I noticed this in Gen 6 and up, There's always pictures or like things that give away what the next generation's gonna be without giving it away. You know, like the in Gen 6 we had the mysterious little like tiki thing in Gen 6, and then that was a clue to Alola. So when there's a picture somewhere in Scarlet and Violet. If you guys know, drop it in the comments. But you look at it and it looks like a nice little landscape, and I thought it was gonna be Italy, Italia. I was like, oh, it looks like Italy. But now that we know it's Gaia, Gaia's code name, and if you look at Greece, Gen 10 is gonna be, I'm 99% sure it's gonna be in Greece, which is badass. And the architecture, you know, also you got to think about is Italy and Greece are very close to each other. I mean, you know, I don't need to tell you that. You already know that. So that's pretty cool. Gaia is a code name, and then the code letters for the Gen 10 games are going to be, and this is Japanese code letters. It could be different in English, but K and N. I think it's N. Don't crucify me if I'm wrong. I know one of them is K version, and I think it's N version. And people are speculating that since it's based on Greece and Gaia as a code name, that it's going to be Pokemon Wind and Pokemon Waves, which I highly doubt that it'll be that. But yeah, that's what we know about. We know where the next generation of Pokemon's going, which is fucking ridiculous, guys. It's fucking crazy to know. Again, this wasn't supposed to come out until but the GameFreak leak happened. So anyways, that's the Gen 10 stuff. Also, there and this is something that is speculative, but not really, because it was in the leaks too. In the Tera-leak, there is a there was supposed to be a movie. It's supposed to come out next year. That according to the leaks, now this may have got canceled because it started development, I believe, in 2022, around there, 2021. But it was supposed to be kind of a reboot for the movie franchise, kind of like how Ash got retired in the anime, going to Generation 9, and now we have what's her girl's name, Lilo, or I forgot what her name is. Forgive me, don't crucify me. But the girl that has the Terrapagos necklace, and I forgot what dude. I haven't seen the anime since like episode 6 of Gen 9. But anyways, yeah. So this is the crazy thing here, right? This movie that's supposed to be a reboot for the movie franchise, because if we rebooted the anime with Ash retiring, and now we have you know, Lilo or whatever the new character's name is, you know, Ash is being sunsetted for this new character, it makes sense to reboot the entire movie franchise from scratch. So one of the this is part of the Tera-leak thing. There's a movie and I'm gonna get to the part where GameFreak gets fucking dicey, and by that I mean people think Pokemon's kid games. Sure, they are kid games. Anybody can play them. But the stuff that GameFreak has written, canon-wise, story-wise, about their games, that shit is rated M for mature. That shit is borderline rated. What the fuck? It's crazy. But this movie was supposed to tackle themes of modern day that kids go through, such as cyberbullying and SUICIDE. Right? That's what I said. I was like, what the fuck? Really? A Pokemon movie talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of grim. But, and then all we have of that movie is one piece of artwork that shows. This is kind of crazy. You guys gonna go look at it. In the pitch for the movie and the posters out there, in the leaks, obviously, GameFreak's internal files. The poster shows, it says, you know, this character has blah blah blah, but then it says the name of a Pokemon that we don't have in any generation. Assuming it's a Gen 10 Pokemon. It's called Appa something. And if you look at that poster, the girls are, I believe, on a Pidgeot, because this movie's supposed to be a reboot. It's supposed to take place in Kanto, the original 151. So the movie universe is also going back to rebooting back to Kanto, modern day Kanto. But I think she's flying on the Pidgeot in the poster, and then she has in her bag while she's flying on the Pidgeot, there's a Pokemon like right here that we have not seen and is not in Gen 9. We have not seen it in the Legends trailer. We have not seen it anywhere. It's only in that poster. So, is that new Pokemon called Appa whatever? It's a new Pokemon. It's a new something. Is it a placeholder? Maybe, because that poster wasn't released to the public. But food for thought. So anyways, I touched on the Legends EA. I touched on the Gen 10 being Gaia, taking place in Greece. Oh, by the way, going back to Gaia and K version and N version, in the leak it showed that as of September, I'm gonna ballpark the range, but I think it was a playable build of both of them from September 15th, 9/15. I think it's that date. If not, it's around that date. But that they actually had playable builds of K and N that they sent out to be tested. And you can see this in the leaks that they show, it shows the actual, how Switch games have like a title code, or not a title code, but like a product code. Like, I wish I had a Switch box around here somewhere. I have a Switch, but just all my games are on my Switch. But yeah, Switch games have like NDC or like NDS, and it has like a long number. K and N have their own, they almost match, but then the last digits are a bit different for K and N. So there's playable builds of K and N out there that are being tested. So that's pretty fucking cool too. Supposedly they're pretty close to final, which is crazy. Mic's not working, but I have to keep it up here. Which is crazy. Also, it's supposed to be in this GameFreak leak, they kind of low-key leaked the code name of the Switch 2. That's right. So the original Switch was codenamed the NX. Turns out that the Switch 2 is codenamed Ounces, and this has been speculated for some time. And GameFreak obviously has access to these dev kits. Switch 2 is scheduled to launch next year. I mean, Nintendo hasn't said this, but we all know this already. Slated for holiday 25. So as of right now, Gaia version, K and N version are slated to launch on ounces, whatever you want to call it. But supposedly, and this is purportedly, according to the leakers themselves, they're being developed for ounces, which is Switch 2, but they're also being worked on current Switch 1 hardware. So according to the leaks, it's not confirmed. We might have just K and N version or Gaia, Gen 10 for the next Switch, or there might be a Switch 2 version and a Switch 1 version, which is fucking crazy. Again, this is all just blowing my fucking mind. And what else did I want to... Oh, and we got a lot more things, such as we got Gen 3 beta sprites, Gen 4 beta sprites, Gen 5 beta sprites, which is fucking sick. I'm not going to show any of them because I don't want to get took down by Nintendo. But if you guys want to go see them, you can go check them out. But I think the most beautiful thing that came out of this was the actual canon story of Pokemon according to according to GameFreak. I mentioned this in the beginning of the video that we've always speculated, like, okay, Arceus hatched from an egg and he had 1,000 arms, and he shaped the universe and all this jazz. And I'm gonna stop holding the microphone. Arceus shaped the universe and did all these things. When you read what GameFreak officially has as their canonical lore, it's kind of dark. They literally explicitly mention blood, which you are not gonna hear that in a Pokemon game. But I'm not gonna go into and read the whole thing because I'll probably be here for 10 minutes just reading off the whole thing. But basically, I'm not looking at it right now because I don't want to go look for it. But basically, because I have like 300 files. So basically, the story starts off that in the beginning, this is Game Freak's official canon. In the beginning of the Pokemon universe, there was an egg, which is Arceus. That egg hatched, and it hatched a being named Aus, A-U-S. And Aus, when he hatched, and I'm paraphrasing a lot because I'm not looking at it, but I know I know what I read. He hatched, and then from his left side and from his right side, his like these two offspring, basically, were trying to like fight or like contain him or something, and he ended up containing them. And he named one of them L, and the other one he named, I'm gonna say ill. It's probably wrong. I-L and E-L. I'm probably wrong, but it's Dialga and Palkia. But according to Game Freak, that's their like holy name. It also mentions that Arceus, and this has been a big theory in the Pokemon community, that how is it that we're playing Pokemon games and we're catching literal God? Like, how is it that you, this 12-year-old in Pokemon, Platinum or in Diamond and Pearl, you play this flute if you got the event, hack the game like a lot of us did, and you climb to heaven on that glass stairwell, and then Arceus is just there. And then you, little 12-year-old, just fucking daps him up, paralyzed, master ball that bitch, and you catch God. It's always been like, nah, it shouldn't be that way, bro. It's God. So, what we ended up finding out from the official Game Freak lore was that L and, I don't know the other one, I'm going to call the other one Ill, but they're Dialga and Palkia. According to that, one of them was light and one of them was dark. So, we know that Palkia and Dialga are space and time, but according to Game Freak's lore, one of them was actually, in the beginning, light, and one was dark. This is before Giratina came into the picture. But basically, I forgot which one created what, but Dialga created Pokemon or humans, and then Palkia created Pokemon or humans. One of them created humans, and the other one created Pokemon. And Arceus said, I'd be kind of like, just like in the Bible, he saw the creation and he said that, and it is good. So, he then, if you want the whole story, I'm not going to go in, it's very deep. It talks about how he shed his blood and put his blood into his, into L and into, it's fucking crazy. And we ended up finding out that I'm gonna fast forward a lot, but finding out that we always knew that, for example, Latios and Latias were the Eon Pokemon, and they were kind of the guardians of the ocean, or not the ocean, because the ocean is the god of the ocean, and the origin story of Game Freak has goes into this. Kyogre is the god that created the oceans, and Groudon was the god that created the lands, and Rayquaza was the god that created the heavens, like the sky. But the protectors of the ocean were the Eon Pokemon, Latios and Latias, his brother and sister. But in the story, it goes into detail that Metagross is actually a part of this trinity, as in Latios, Latias, and Metagross are the guardians of the ocean. Metagross, bro, a psychic steel type Pokemon that I would have never correlated to, and we end up figuring out, according to Game Freak's official timeline, is that a lot of the pseudo legendaries are a big fucking deal. Like, if you guys played Heart Gold or Soul Silver, there's an event where where Arceus comes down and there's a triangle, right? And he's in the middle of the triangle, And then at the corner of each of the triangles, there's circles, like a circle here, a circle here, a circle up top. Arceus is in the middle, and then not only is there this, you know, pyramid with circles on each corner of the pyramid, but there's lines in between. And so basically, Game Freak themselves designed and mapped out what each of those points meant. And you notice that it's Arceus, Palkia, Dialga, Giratina, and then on the left, and then at each of the points, you have creation beings such as Uxie, Azelf, and Mesprit, and then around them, or they gave the gift, and then you have Ho-Oh with the trio of the legendary beast, and you have Lugia with the trio of the legendary birds, and then you have I forgot who it was that had the, I want to say that it's the Reggies, but I'm probably wrong. I don't know. Go look it up. It's fucking cool. But we actually found out that Tyranitar is more than a pseudo. Turns out Gyarados is a legendary Pokemon that is part of the creation trio. Now, when I say creation trio, I'm not saying Palkia, Giratina, and Dialga. You know, I'm saying everything in the Pokemon in this map that Junichi Masuda, you know, drew out, or Ken Sugimori drew out, but Junichi Masuda, like, basically that scene in Argos of Silver where he comes down, Arceus comes down, and you see that symbol with all those things, he mapped it out. And you get to see that Gyarados is a legend that is helped in creation. You get to see that T-Tar is a legend that helped in creation. And you get to see that Metagross. So these are all pseudos of Gen 1, 2, and 3. And Gyarados, we didn't assume it was a pseudo. You know, Gyarados was just the atrocious Pokemon. Turns out he was a big deal. So just go look at it. It's fucking crazy. Also, Game Freak has official canonical lore about humans and Pokemon mating. There was a book in Gen 4 in the library that we all know the story of, that Pokemon and humans back then, they used to mate. And we now have confirmation from Game Freak themselves, from their official documents, insider documents, that humans and Pokemon were made from the same being. Also, I'm going to end the video with this because I don't want it to go past 30 minutes. AUS, the creator Pokemon, when he created L and the other one, he created essentially an avatar of himself. And I'm mentioning that for a reason, because this solves the kind of like the paradox of how can you catch God? How are you catching Arceus? And then the theory was well, you know, in the Pokemon community was, well, you're not really catching Arceus. You're catching a projection that Arceus is casting of himself to on a lower plane of his holiness, but it's not actually him. It's just a projection of Arceus himself, or AUS himself, projected as Arceus. And yeah, in the official Game Freak story, AUS creates an avatar of himself to be on a lesser plane. So, which solves the paradox of how do you catch God? Well, now we know the Arceuses that we've been catching have not been the real Arceus. They are, you know, heaven sent from Arceus, but they are not the actual creator AUS. Which is just, look, man, this whole fucking leak has been fucking crazy. So, I hope that, look, man, Nintendo's gonna fucking stick a knife in whoever fucking did this. They're gonna fucking throw a ninja star into whoever. But look, whatever. Thanks for joining me and me just talking about this, because honestly, as a big Pokemon fan, this is crazy. Hope you guys, yeah, just enjoyed it. Go check out the leaks if you want to, and if you don't want to, then don't. And if you saw this and didn't want to, you should have just clicked away. But if, yeah, I'm not gonna say if you liked it, leave it. No, I just wanted to talk about it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and eat some food now, and I'm gonna hit homegirl love. You already know what you already know. I'm out. Peace.